1949, Soviets explode the first atomic bomb. After that, the Korean War broke out in 1950. 3 years later, it ended. The Cold War, not a war of mass fighting, but one of politics and small firefights. After the Japanese surrendered to Allied troops in 1945, 3 years later, communism came into play. Communist takeover in Czechoslovakia in 1948, June that year, the Berlin blockade started. It lasted 320 days as Allied troops supplied up to 13,000 tons of food, fuel, and other items daily to the West Berlin. Finally, the blockade ended on May 12, 1949, and the Soviet Union gave in to Western plans.
You know why you're here?
What am I here for?
You really don't know. You were rogue, remember?
I have no remembrance of anything. The last thing I could remember was being undercover as Stalin's right-hand man. I was working undercover for Communist Russia. I was there to make sure everything in Russia and East German democracies didn't turn into a war. Full-out war was something that could not happen. Stalin wanted communism to take control of the world in a progressive way towards the future. But then Stalin died. Suffered from a stroke and a brain hemorrhage. After Stalin's death, Nikita Khrushchev stated in 1956 that imperialism and capitalism could coexist with each other without war because communism systems have become stronger.
So who was Nikita Khrushchev?
Khrushchev, he was Soviet so-called savior. He was saying how he wanted to avoid war with Western nations and at the same time increase economic competition between communist and non-communist countries. In 1962, he convinced the ideas of putting nuclear missiles in Cuba.
Why? What was the major purpose in placing the missiles in Cuba?
I really have no recollection of anything at all. All I got out of it was that the United States wouldn't stand for it.
What happened because of that? Do you remember any of it?
I was placed in the CIA Special Forces, that's all I could remember.
Traitor!
Would you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, he went rogue after the Bay of Pigs.
I did no such thing.
Shut up, you know exactly what you did. The invasion was launched in April 1961. The Cuban armed forces, trained and equipped by Eastern Bloc nations, defeated us within 3 days. After the invasion, the U.S. pulled back and one of the CIA Special Forces captured me and took me with him onto a boat to Russia. I was interrogated and found out that this traitor was actually a Russian-born man named Dmitry, who was working for Fidel Castro to secure the missiles in Cuba and worked under the name Michael War for the CIA after World War II.
Why'd you work for Castro?
I worked for Stalin only.
No, you worked for Castro after the reign of Stalin so you could help the Russians in the Cold War.
I did no such thing. I worked for Stalin only undercover. I stayed true to the U.S.
Don't lie about it.
Wait, so who do you really work for?
For Stalin only.
Tell me about Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro. Who was this Fidel Castro? I have no recollection of working for him.
Fidel Castro was a former leader of the country. He served it well. He was the primary leader of the Cuban Revolution. He was a recognized figure in Cuban politics.
So do you remember now?
I have no remembrance of any of this.
Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. What happened?
I'll tell you what happened then. Cuba had missiles and were building more and more missile silos. October 22nd, the Pentagon announced DEFCON 3, the lowest it has ever been since World War II. October 28th, tensions between Soviets and Cuba heated. Castro threatened to have missiles rained down upon the US. Later, Khrushchev said to Castro, he was a young, hot-headed man, so he thought we were retreating and capitulating. He did not understand our action was necessary to prevent military confrontation. November 21st, President Kennedy ended the quarantine and the crisis officially ended.
So that's all?
Yes, that's all that ever happened there. 1965, U.S. Marines were sent to the Dominican Republic to fight communism.
What happened there?
Breach!
Nothing happened there.
I'm starting to remember now.
Don't look now, but this might get messy. They're coming. You two! Oh, hello friends from 6th period, Mr. Schiller's. Welcome to my crib. As you can see, I am Fidel Castro. Well, get the hell out.